Beach fishing the new moon. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne, and in today's video I'm down at one of my local beaches and I'm fishing the new moon period. So I'm going to be targeting multiple species and I'm going to explain everything that I'm doing along the way. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. It certainly helps my channel. And if you're enjoying these videos and learning something, that would be awesome. Also hit the notification bell because that lets you know when new videos come out, and I put up a video every week. So let's get started. So here we are, we're down at the beach. All I brought with me is I have 5 pilchards in a little bag from my freezer, and I caught some worms earlier today. I got them in my bait bucket. You can't really see them there. Oh, there you go. Look, that's pretty thick, that one. Look at that guy. He's pretty thick. A lovely crumbed worm. So I just have some worms and 5 pilchards. And my plan is actually, I've got a couple of different size rods. I'm going to fish with one of my little light rods right on the edge. Normally when I make these videos, I'm only here for like 1 hour or maybe an hour and a half. That's about it, and usually I go home. But tonight I'm going to hang around a little bit longer. I'm going to fish until dark, or perhaps a little bit after dark, because the new moon period can be very good for mulloway. And I'm going to put out a couple of larger baits later. With this particular location, I fully expect to catch salmon. I mean, as you know, this whole stretch of coast is just salmon everywhere, so I think that's going to happen. And I'll probably catch bream and whiting as well, but I'd love to get one of those lovely golden slabs on the beach a little bit later. So it's worth persevering, and it's a great time of the year. Such an awesome thing to be doing. Today's pretty overcast, but it's quite hot, and you've only just got to start moving around a little bit, and it's super sweaty. So what I'm going to do first is I've actually got a slightly heavier line. I'm going to put 2 large worm baits on, a couple of the bigger, thicker worms, and I'm going to pelt it out the back. I've just got one of these setups here which I really like, where I've got a nice trough with a sandbar behind it, and the tide is coming in. High tide is about 8 o'clock tonight, so I've got a high tide just near dark. Pretty cool. So I'm going to pelt one out the back, and then the plan is to fish with my little rod, but we'll see how long it takes to get a bite on the big line. I might not get much of a chance to fish with the little line. Anyway, we'll wait and see. And these pilchards are just for an option for later. Also, I'm planning on, if I catch some fish that are not too big, I might whack one of them on whole as a live bait as well. I brought some nice big hooks down with me, and I've also got one of my heavier beach rods that I can put a big bait on and whack it out there. So I'm gonna put my heavy line out first and then grab my little rod. So I've got this guy here. This is my kind of mid-range one. I have a star sinker on the bottom. Actually, I've got one bait off the top here. It's a large long shank hook. It's got a luminous bead just above it. This is coming off a 3-way swivel. Then I have about an 80 centimetre gap before I've got a star sinker, and then I've actually got a hook down the bottom as well. This one doesn't have a bead on it. I might whack a bead on there later. It's just a 1/0 size long shank hook. So I'm going to put 2 nice big worm baits on this, chuck it out, I'll get my rod holder, and we'll see how long that takes to get a bite. I mean, it's still probably 2 hours before dark, but it seems quite dark because it's really overcast. This particular rod that I have here is a Speedmaster. It's 12 feet long, and I've got that coupled with, it's a Spheros. I have 15 kilo line on this, so that's about the heaviest line I ever use off the beach. I mean, you can land a pretty massive thing on 15 kilo line. So it's not really the line that you'd use for bream and whiting, but it's amazing what you still catch on this heavier line. So I'm just looking out at the water. I looked at a number of beaches today, and nearly every beach was just loaded with seaweed. And not only that, but the structure on the beaches didn't look very exciting at all. So I've picked this spot here because I can't really see much in the way of weed. There's a little bit of weed along the beach, and the structure's really good. I just hope there's not too much weed out there. I want to get this in a fair way because if something big pulls it, you don't want the sand spike coming out of the ground. You've got to make sure it's in nice and firm and just kind of kick the sand in behind it. And I like to have it on a little bit of an angle, not straight up. So that's cool. Now I'm going to whack. This particular worm that's a pretty chunky worm, that one actually. I might save this guy for later, just around dark, because he's quite a nice big thick worm. Would be a really good mulloway bait. So I think I'll go for a slightly smaller worm. That one's still pretty chunky anyway. So I'm going to save that big one for later, because he looks like a nice one to put out just half an hour before dark, I think. I don't think it's going to rain. I really hope it doesn't. Well, you can see here, there's the worm's fangs. Oh, look at that. You can see it's black fangs. They don't like it. Look at that. Oh, man. They're amazing things. So that's his mouth, and he's going to eat hook. I'm going to slide him on and just pull him up above the hook. So actually I'm going to put quite a big bait on. Oh, I can feel the wave. Actually, no point in me breaking that off. I'm just going to leave that whole piece on there. Look at that. That's a big piece of worm. I need to get another one. Something's going to see that worm and really want to eat that. Yeah, I didn't bring a raincoat with me because I was thinking there wasn't really much rain predicted, although it's always possible. I think the prediction was like 1 millimetre. Oh, well, that'll do. Give that a go. I'm not sure which way the current's going out there. If it's going to the right or to the left. I tend to think it's going to go slightly to the right here. And then if I move that way, because I'm kind of right in the middle of this sandbar, and if I go to the right-hand end of it, the current will definitely be going out that way, or if I went to the other end of it, it would be going the opposite direction. So I'm kind of wanting to set myself up in the middle of this sandbar to minimise drift, so that, it's just a little bit more comfortable for fishing. And I'm just watching my rod. It seems to be drifting down to the right a fair bit, actually. Anyway, you learn these things. You find out when you chuck your line in what's happening. So I'm going to grab my little rod here, which has just got 10-pound line on it. This is the rod I was using when I was fishing with Starlo recently. It's just a fun little stick for playing around near the edge. So let's go and have a look. Yeah, it's actually drifted a fair way to the right, I believe. I'm not sure if I was getting a bite. I might chuck this out again a little bit up the other way. Where you have this headland here, the water's naturally going to funnel along here and then go out beside the headland. The current will get quite strong as it gets near that headland. That's why I've come up away from the rocks a bit in this particular case, because it just gets a really strong current there. So I'm going to wind this and chuck it out again. I don't think I had a bite. This well's not big, but there's plenty of turbulence out there, that's for sure. It looks to me like the water's going to the right. But I've cast a little bit upstream. So hopefully that's a better spot. So I'm going to leave this one in there now and then grab my little rod and hopefully start catching some fish soon. Will be good. I've just walked up the beach about 50 metres from my other rod. I'm going to flick my little rod out here and just see what the current's like in this part of the sandbank. And if it's actually got less current, I might even move up this way a little bit. But we will see what the story is. Yeah, it's amazing how far you can cast with this little thing and a small star sinker. I landed in a really good spot then. Actually, I landed right where the sandbar, right on the edge of the deep water where it drops off. So I'd be very surprised if I don't get a bite or catch a fish. I think I better just check this rod. There's something going on. I don't know if it's a weed fish or a fish or what's happening. So just head over this way. It's certainly been washed into the shore. Have I got weed? What have I got? Feels like weed actually. But it just feels like a clump of weed. Or is it? No, it's not weed. It's a little skippy boy. It may as well be weed. Although I've spoken to a few people who actually eat these things. They reckon they're pretty good. I don't know, I'm ready to eat stingray yet though. Maybe I'll give it a go. Well, at least he didn't swallow it, thankfully. Yeah, they reckon that you cut the flaps off and you eat the flaps. My neighbour actually loves it. He's only 18 years old, but he raves about stingray. I've swapped over to one of my other rods, which is a little bit lighter, because that heavy line that I put out was really getting impacted by the current. This is kind of a mid-range rod. It's only got 15-pound line on it, but there's quite a current out there. When you've got thicker, heavier line, it's amazing the difference it makes, the drag in the current. So I'm going a little bit lighter, and I think it'll sit in the water a bit better. I'm still using the same sort of setup. I've got 2 worm baits on this. Just this week I'm releasing my beach worming masterclass, my course, which I've been working on redoing for the last couple of months. And since I started teaching people how to catch beach worms, I've learned a lot by observing people and seeing where they struggle. So that's really helped me to focus on those areas to get people catching worms quicker. So my new beach worming course actually has 18 videos in it. It's got nearly triple the content of my first beach worming course. It's very thorough, and I think I've actually put everything into it. I don't think I can explain it any better. I'm really happy with how it's come out. So if you're interested in learning how to catch beach worms, it's a fantastic thing to do, and it's really inexpensive to do the course, and you've got a great skill for life. So I recommend it. Just head on over to my website, rogersfishing.com. Okie dokie. Come on, Mr. Fish. All right, we'll see how this guy goes. We don't want another stingray. Well, maybe I will have to actually keep one. Then I'd have to tell you what it's like once I've eaten it. Okay, it's been a little bit quiet so far. I had one bite, I lost half my bait before, and then we caught that stingray. But it's still pretty early. The fish must be asleep, I reckon. Oh, I missed it. Oh, did I? I had a bit of a nibble. It's a bit of a strange bite, actually. But it was a bite. Yeah, it's kind of, you can see it's had a bit of a mangle, a bit of a go. That worm's kind of bitten in half. You can see its head up the top. So something's had a munch. Okay, see if I can hook it this time. Got a fish. Oh my gosh, I've got a bend in the rod. I hope it's not another stingray. There better not be another stingray. It's always so exciting when you get a bite, isn't it? You know, when you've been standing, sometimes you're waiting, you think, oh, am I going to get a bite? It actually feels like a bream, to tell you the truth. You see, am I right or wrong? Oh, it's a lovely bream actually, quite a good one. Quite a big bream. Yeah, aren't they a beautiful fish? They're so clean and just delicious to eat, fantastic. I love the bream. Well, he swallowed that worm bait, look at that. See the worm's head coming out of his mouth. Oh well, my gear's about 60 metres away, so I've got a little bit of a walk, but I think I'll come back up here and have another cast. I just pulled in that bream, but I think my other rod's got a fish. Hopefully. Either way, it's been washed down. Let's just have a look and see what the story is. I'm going to walk down the beach a bit because it's going down this way on an angle. Last time I had that stingray. Is it another stingray? That's the question. So the bream are up there and the stingrays are down here. Yeah, I threw it out. I wasn't sure if that was a wave or something was biting it. Nah. I'm going to go back to the bream spot. Okay. I'm watching my other rod. I really hope I don't get another stingray on that other rod. I always just test my drag just by pulling it a little bit, just to make sure it's not too tight or too loose. You know what? This was just sitting on it. I didn't actually feel it bite, it was just sitting on it, so I'm concerned it might be a stingray. I was getting the stingrays down there, but yeah, there was no actual discernible bite. It was just weight. Look, it's pulling line. It's a slightly bigger stingray, maybe. And this is only a light little rod, so what is this thing? Yeah, it's a stingray. Oh. Come here. Oh well, that's stingray number 3 going back, and at least I didn't lose my hook. The water's a little bit more turbulent than I would like. There's a lot of movement out there and wash, and it's moving around. I don't think it's totally ideal. I mean, you can still catch dinner in in a lot of different conditions, but I wouldn't say. I don't know if it's epic. It's kind of strange. The water's an interesting colour, and I think it's obviously to do with the colour of the sky. I'm getting a bite now. What is it? Yeah, something's having a go. Must have missed it. Yeah, oh no, I've got it. I thought I missed it. It's Wilbur whiting. Okay. Yep. He's suitable for the table. So, okay, well that's a bream and a whiting. I don't have any fish in the fridge at home, so I'm happy to get a few of these for dinner. Beautiful. Alrighty, I'm just going to check my other line and then head back over there for another cast. Because I'm not holding this line and there's a fair bit of current, it's really just getting washed into the shore a lot. But I still think it's worth having out because it may still catch me a fish or two. Well, look at that. Would you believe? 2 whiting. So I've got a couple of whiting here, but these guys hooked themselves while I was fishing with my other line, so it's worth having a set line out. Of the 2 whiting that I just caught, one of them was just a little bit small, so I'm putting him back in. Yep, he's good. Swam away like a happy little whiting. Okay. Just going to flick this little one out again. Put that into that little trough out there. I think I might make an adjustment to my plan. My plan was to fish for some just nice bread and butter eating fish, and then a little bit later put some bigger baits out, but I just feel like it's too turbulent for that. For the bigger baits, you're going to get washed around a fair bit out there. So I think I'll focus on catching bream and whiting and just, I mean, I'm pretty happy about that. Have a nice feed and then plan my next fishing trip. What's going on? Something's playing with it, but I have a feeling it could be a stingray. Or a piece of weed. That was really strange. Yeah, it's weed. Some weed's got it. So there's a bit of weed out there. So I've got a couple of bits of weed so far. It's my bait. still okay. Yeah, my bait's all right. Just found a pippy. I think it washed up where I was standing. They're pretty good bait. I don't use them very often. I don't really need it, so I let it go. I'm not sure. Wasn't really an obvious bite. Yeah, there's something there. I'm just got to set the hook, but I hope it's not a stingray. That's a really, really solid bream. This guy's a thumper. Really chunky. Actually pulled a bit of line then. Have a look at this beautiful fish. Now that's a cracking bream. That's a beautiful bream. I've got to hold on to him pretty tight actually, because otherwise he's not that well hooked. You can see really the hook's actually just right in this lip, right on the side there. What a beautiful eating fish. Get some lovely fillets off this guy. So the old beach worms, they catch lots of different things, and certainly lots of bream. I think there's something on it. Looks like there might be a fish on this rod again. My hand, I need to wash my hands. How's the drag on this? Okay, so where are we? We're way down the beach. So obviously either some weed has grabbed it or there's something on this line as well, and it's... No, I think it's a fish, so I'll head down here. So I've caught whiting and stingray down this section so far, but I haven't landed a bream here yet. I can see a bit of weed on my line. I'll just bring this up here. Actually, here. We've got a salmon. Oh, got me in the face. Oh, sand and water in the eye. Okay, so we've just got a small Australian salmon. Hey, a salmon, yeah. Although the salmon aren't dominating tonight. So far the stingrays, bream and whiting have been dominating. So I'm just going to take this guy up and sort it out. It's a little bit of a tangle in the rig, so I've got to untangle it. Okie doke, ready to go. Starting to get a little bit darker now, but this heavy cloud certainly makes it get darker quicker. I've got a couple of beautiful bream on this little rod. It's a lot of fun, it's great. I mean, I like all of my rods. I like the big ones, being able to cast out a long way. But you don't always have to cast a long way. Just had a nibble of some kind. It's swimming towards me, actually. Whatever it is swimming towards me. Yep. Got it now. But that actually bit, and then it swam straight at me. I think it's another bream, actually. That's what it feels like. Actually, no, look at that. It's just a big whiting. It's quite a big whiting, this one. A good size one. Come back. Come here. Oh, look at that guy. Whoa! Hang on. Got to grab him properly. That's a cracker of a whiting. Whoa. Yeah, he swam towards me then. There's obviously a few whiting out here. So I'll add him to the tally quickly and get back out here. Whoa, look at him go. Okay, still pretty rough out here actually. Pretty turbulent. But there's still a few fish out there. And if I can get maybe one more whiting or bream or a couple more would be good. We've already got a lovely feed of fish. Yep, got him. That was quite a good bite actually. So what have we got this time? Is it another whiting? I can tell it's an eating fish and not a stingray. Yeah, another whiting. We'll just have a little look at this guy, make sure he's big enough, or otherwise he'll be going back. Okay, 20. Yep, he's big enough. Beautiful. So that's a few whiting now, and a couple of really nice bream. So I've had a great little session. I had to make a bit of an adjustment. I was hoping to actually fish for a dewy, for a mulloway tonight, but when I had a look at a few of the beaches, they were covered in weed. There was no decent holes or gutters. This beach actually looked reasonably good. There was a decent depth of water, a nice bit of a trough with a sandbar behind it, but there's a lot of drift and current out there. Didn't really excite me for putting out some live bait or big bait, so I thought, no, I'm just going to focus on catching some bream and whiting. Ended up with 4 whiting, 2 bream and a salmon. I could keep fishing and catching fish, but I'm content with what I've got, and that'll make a lovely feed for my family. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you learned some things from watching me down at the beach. I try to show you everything that I know so that it helps you with your fishing. I'll see you very soon in the next video.